Okay. All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Sarah Evans. I am the services coordinator for Trails Regional Library, and I kind of am piloting this new virtual program thing that we're starting, and we're really hoping today's our first big success with that. I'm very grateful that you're all trying this out with us. We're really sad that we can't have Kelly in person. We had planned to have her at every one of our branches this summer. And as you know, that won't quite work out. And so we're really hoping that this will be a nice supplement to that and we can have her back another time. Yes. When it's safer. So I just wanted to welcome you all and say a little bit about the program before we get started. Kelly is brought to us by a very special grant from the Missouri State Library that is supported by the Institute of Museum and Library. Oh, hello?
Are you still doing the summer reading program?
Yes.
Okay, I was making sure.
I'll talk about it in a second.
All right, okay.
Okay, thanks. So the project, this whole project, the program is supported by the Institute of Museum and Library Services under the provision of the Library Services and Technology Act as administered by the Missouri State Library, which is a division of the Office of the Secretary of State. And so that is why we are able to do this today. And I want to talk to you a little bit about our author. Kelly Milner Halls has written numerous nonfiction and slightly fiction, I guess you might say, books. And we actually got a chance to buy extra copies of her books for our library for you all to check out as a part of this grant. And so when I send a follow-up email to everyone, I want you to definitely check out her books. She's got some really cool books that I think you all will enjoy. And as a reminder for the summer reading program today, you can earn the author book badge. I'm not sure I've got it with me, but it's the badge that has the book that kind of glows. You can earn that badge on your lanyard today after attending this program. Does everyone have their summer reading lanyards?
I want one.
I'll have to send you one in the mail.
No, we don't. Can you send us
You
one?
don't have yours yet? I can definitely send you your one. Do you remember what email address you guys used to register?
I think
email address?
The email.
No.
Not your address.
No, I don't.
Okay. I'll send it out to everyone so that you can get registered and have more information. Okay.
And you get a badge for the lanyard?
Yeah. We have a special badge just for so this summer with the summer reading program, you can pick up your badges and lanyards at any of our branches. You just have to call and make an appointment. And it comes with a lanyard, and each badge represents a task that you can do during the summer at home. One of them is, a moon badge, and you can earn it. It's a little button that goes on your lanyard, and you earn it if you read a bedtime story. And then one of the special badges you can only earn by attending this program, and that is the book badge. It's for the author visit. So after you finish this and ask all your great questions, you can add that badge to your lanyard.
Can I earn all the badges too?
Sure. It's open to everyone.
Okay, you guys, let's compete. See if we get all the badges.
Okay, so I think that's about all I've got. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, do you have okay, you've got it. I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone. Oh, she's switching computers. Okay. So I'm going to mute everyone so that we can get started with Kelly, and she's going to take it from here.
So, hi, you guys. Are you awake? Of course you are, because it's lunchtime for you. It's only 8:30 for me, or 9 o'clock now. I am so glad to see you. I wish I was in Warrensburg and surrounding areas so I could be with you, because we were going to have so much fun. Hello, Ron, who just arrived. But that stinky COVID-19, man, did it scramble our brains. We need to hurry up and get a vaccination so we can get back to normal. But until then, we're going to have fun on the computer, and we can do it. My name is Kelly Milner Halls, and I get paid for being weird. I write weird nonfiction books. When someone says, hey, Kelly, you're weird, I say thank you. Because I love being weird. Being weird is totally fun. And today, we're going to talk about some weird animal stories. Raise your hand if you like animals. Yay! I love animals.
You
So
can't see us with the house, but we are.
Yeah, we love animals.
Yay! I'm so glad you answered. That makes me happy. So I'm going to open my PowerPoint presentation, and it'll have a little more about me and my life, and then we'll get going in the actual animals. Now, let's see if I remember which thing to do. Yes, I do. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that. Right? And then I'm going to do... Come on, slideshow, be good for me. There we go. Can you see the animals? Unmute yourself and say yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Jonathan. Okay, so we're going to talk about the wonders of weird animals. Where do I live? I live in Spokane, Washington. See that little red dot on the map? That's where I live. That's a long way from you. That's why I'm so bummed I didn't get to come out to Missouri to see you, because I love Warrensburg, Missouri. I've done the Children's Literature Festival there many times, and I love your town. Now, this is normal me. I have normal me holding a normal chupacabra. Wait, that's not very normal. And there's a baby dinosaur, not very normal. Do you see right here are my two daughters? This is my normal daughter, Vanessa, right here. This is my normal daughter, Carrie, not all that normal. This is my normal living room. Does that look normal to you? No, because it's not, because I'm weird. I told you I'm weird, and I'm not lying. This is my rescue dog. Her name
I
is
see the
Abby.
Pikachu.
You did see a Pikachu. We're going to talk more about Pokemon, I promise. Now, this is Abby. She is my rescue Great Dane. She weighs 160 pounds. That is a lot of dog. Here she is being a weird Great Dane, playing upside down football in the backyard. Yep, she's weird too. These are my two rescue kitties. The one in the box, his name is Fluff. Nobody wanted Fluff because Fluff bites. Now, Fluff bites us. But we're weird, so it's okay. He belongs. The guy on the right, his name is Atticus Faticus. He's a very chubby kitty. But guess what? Chubby is cute too. You can be chubby and beautiful. You can be skinny and beautiful. Every kind of beauty, every kind of body. So we love him. Now, we thought that was enough rescue kitties, 1, 2. And then my neighbor across the street moved away. And when she did, she left 2 things in her front snowy yard. 2 kittens. Do you think I could ignore those 2 kittens? No. So it wasn't long before we didn't have 2 rescue kitties. We had 3 because Pinky came in to live. Who could say no to that little face? So then we had 3 rescue kittens, and about 6 months later, we had 4, because that's when Susu came to live. Susu was very afraid of people, so it took us a long time to get her to come in our house. But now she's happy and safe, and we have 4 rescue kitties. That's too many, but it's okay. We have a lot of love. Now, I didn't grow up in Spokane. I grew up in a place called Houston, Texas. And if you've ever been to Texas, you know it's hot, and it's sticky, and it's fun. And I was not a girly girl. My mom wanted me to be a girly girl. Here I am with my sister. This here is my big sister, Kim. Can you see my cursor? That's my big sister, Kim, and that's me. And my mom liked to dress us up on Easter Sunday. And my big sister, Kim, she loved being all fancy. Look how happy she looks. Do I look happy? No, because I hated being all fancied up. Tight patent leather shoes, scratchy petticoats. Who puts white gloves on a 3-year-old? That's insane. Here I am on my 4th birthday. Every birthday, my mom made me wear a dress, and every birthday she gave me another brand new doll. Do I look excited about that doll? No, because I hated dolls.
Nope.
I didn't like dolls. I liked being outside. This was the real me. I was an outside girl, a tomboy. Here I am catching a toad with my very best friend, Craig Bottoms. Yes, his last name was Bottoms. He was my very best friend. We like to catch critters, but this is the toad we were catching. Isn't he handsome? He's bumpy and great. But this was my favorite thing to catch in Houston, Texas. He's called an American anole. That's the lizard goes from brown to green and green to brown. And I loved him. I thought they were the best lizards in the world. I love lizards so much that for 13 years, I had a lizard in my living room. This was my lizard in my living room. His name was Gigantor. He lived in my living room for 13 years and he was 4 feet long. Is that big? Yes. Now, this is a close-up picture of Gigantor and he's very handsome. He's got those beautiful red and black eyes. He's got that beautiful piece of banana on his face. He was a very handsome lizard, but does this picture prove he's 4 feet long? No. Would you need more evidence before you could believe me? Yes, because you are critical thinkers. That means prove it. I don't believe it just because you tell me it's true. Is everything on TV true? No. Is everything on the internet true? No. So you want more evidence. Let's see if the pictures prove he's 4 feet long. Does that prove he's big? No. That proves if you put a camera in a lizard cage, he might lick the camera with a big sloppy tongue. And I thought it proved he had no teeth. Until I found out I was wrong. I'll show you how I found out. Does this prove he's big? We're getting closer. That proves he's kind of muscular, kind of buff, right? But do we have anything in the picture to scale him with? Like, is there a football in there so we know how big he is compared to a football? Or a dollar bill or a ruler? No, we need scale. We need to compare them to something we know. So how's that? That is a picture of me holding my lizard. That was me holding my lizard 6 years before he passed away. He got 6 years bigger. So he really was almost 4 feet long. He lived to be 26 years old. For 13 years, he was my best friend. I love that lizard. That's why he's still in the picture. And I found out he had teeth when I was feeding him a little piece of banana. I wasn't worried about him. I thought he had no teeth, and I'd fed him bananas for years and years. But one day I was feeding him a banana, and my Great Dane barked in the other room, and I turned my head to see what she was barking at. Just that second, he jumped to get the banana, and he missed. And he hit my finger. And it felt like I'd been cut with glass. If you've ever had a glass cut, you know it's different. It burns a little. It's weird. And I thought, who put glass in my lizard cage? And then I realized, oh, that wasn't glass. My lizard accidentally bit me. And because I was really excited. Because I'm weird, I was really excited because, oh my gosh, he bit me. That means he has teeth. I thought he had no teeth, and now I know he has teeth, and I was really excited. But there was no one home to tell. Now, there was a little teeny cut with a little teeny bit of blood. But no one was home to say, look. So you know what I did? I took a picture. But I didn't take a picture of that little teeny bit of blood. I squeezed and I squeezed and I squeezed and I squeezed and I squeezed until I got lots of blood. Because I wanted to gross my daughters out. So when they came home and I showed them my picture, you know what I showed them? I showed them this picture. Look at all that blood. So much blood. But see right here? Here's the cut. Boop, 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 boop. See that little bitty cut? And then I washed my hands and I put a Band-Aid on. You know the little teeny Band-Aids in the box no one uses? Big enough. And then when my daughters came home, I got out my cell phone and I said, look, the lizard bit me. My daughter said, "Oh my goodness, Mom, are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." They punched me and said, "Don't scare us like that." And then I did research on my lizard's teeth. Research I should have done the first year I got him. Turns out he did have teeth. They even look like glass. I didn't see them because they are retractable. They come in and out, just like Toothless and How to Train Your Dragon. Have you seen the movies? You gotta see them. They're fantastic. Toothless is my favorite dragon in the whole wide world. They named him Toothless because he thought he had no teeth until they found out he did, because they were retractable. Remember how you could pop them in and out when you needed them? My lizard had retractable teeth just like Toothless. So maybe it won't surprise you to know that I've written dinosaur books. I love dinosaurs because to me they're like big lizards. And this is one of the first dinosaur books I wrote called Dinosaur Mummies. And all of these dinosaurs have a little something extra. We're used to thinking of dinosaurs as skeletons, right? Dinosaur bones, fossils. But all the dinosaurs and dinosaur mummies have a little something extra. Now, this book was inspired by this guy. His name is Leonardo. And he is not a Ninja Turtle. And he is not a famous actor in Titanic. This Leonardo is a Brachylophosaurus. That is a duck-bill dinosaur, a plant-eating duck-bill dinosaur. Now, why are they called duck-bills? Because of this. Does that look a little bit like a duck? It does. Duck-bill dinosaurs are called duck-bills because they have that ducky-looking face. And you might know a famous duck-bill dinosaur if you've seen a cartoon movie called Land Before Time. Yup. Ducky is called Ducky because she's a duck-bill. Ducky. Sarah was called Sarah because she's a triceratops. Get it? Ducky is like Leonardo's little sister, and when they found Leonardo, he wasn't just bones. They found all of his internal organs fossilized. His heart, his liver, his lungs, his intestines. All of those were fossilized, even his stomach. The last meal he ate before he died was fossilized inside his tummy. There were 40 different plants. That is a big salad bar, isn't it? He's the most complete dinosaur ever found. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records. They knew he was something special when they found duckbill dinosaur skin. The skin was wrapped around the bones. And if the skin is there, then everything underneath the skin is still there too, right? He was an amazing dinosaur. Every dinosaur in the book has something extra like Leonardo did. Now, I wrote a book about baby dinosaurs. After I studied dinosaurs for a lot of years, I started thinking, well, if so many of the mother dinosaurs are giants, does that mean they had giant eggs? Giant babies? Turns out the answer to that is no. They had small eggs and small babies, even the mothers that were too big to fit in a gymnasium. Now, all of the plant eaters, the herbivores, they had round eggs. You know, like a softball or a grapefruit. And one of the plant eaters that I loved was Littlefoot, the long-necked dinosaur, sauropods they call them. This little long neck is called a Saltosaurus. His mother was very big, but when this baby hatched out of his little round egg, he was about the size of a squirrel. Yeah, that's a squirrel eating ice cream. I like that picture. Although it's probably very bad for the squirrel to eat so much sugar, but I bet he thought it tasted good, don't you think? Yum, yum, yum. Ice cream is so good. Now, here's another plant-eating dinosaur, a Stegosaurus. Remember those armored dinosaurs? This little guy came out of a round egg because he's a plant eater. And when this little guy here, do you see the baby on the picture? Do you see his little foot that I'm circling with my cursor here? See how he has 1, 2, 3 toes? Count them with me again. 1, 2, 3. That little foot was so small, it would fit on a quarter. And do you see this picture of the quarter? Well, if you look very closely, here's the quarter. Go over here. This is the footprint of a baby stegosaurus. Can you see? Here's my cursor. Here we go. There's one toe. Whoops. One toe. Two toes. Three toes. Do you see it? And here's the back of the foot. Let's do it one more time. One toe. Two toe. Three toes. That was a very small baby. Now, meat eaters did not come out of round eggs. They came out of oval eggs, kind of take a round and smush it a little, like a hot dog bun or a loaf of French bread. And those meat eaters, our favorite, of course, is the Tyrannosaur, a baby T-Rex. Now, this baby T-Rex came out of an egg about the size of a football. And when that guy hatched, he was about the size of a fully grown house cat. Yeah, baby T-Rex was the size of a house cat. So the next time you pet your kitty, pretend he's a T-Rex, baby T-Rex, but feed him first. Now, I wrote a book called Albino Animals, Animals with No Color. Now, I was inspired to write this book when I went to the Denver Zoo. Denver, Colorado is very diverse. That means there are people of every color and type. I love it. So there were a group of African-American kids walking towards me. Looked like they had one white friend. When they got closer, I realized their friend wasn't white. She was an African-American girl with albinism. She had no color in her skin, no color in her hair, no color in her eyes. And she was amazing. And I wish I could talk to her because I bet her life was super interesting. But you can't stop a stranger at the zoo and say, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? Because that's when they call the police, because that would make you a stalker, right? So I couldn't talk to her, but I couldn't stop thinking about her. And I knew what she had was called albinism, but I didn't know what that meant. So I had to go home and look it up. Are you seeing a pattern here, how I always have to look stuff up? So I went home and looked up albinism. Turns out our bodies make something called pigment, melanin. If you have a lot of pigment, you have that beautiful brown skin. If you have less, you look like me. If your body forgets to make pigment, then you have albinism. No color in your hair, skin, or eyes. So I decided to write a book about animals with albinism. See this guy? He's called axolotl. He is a salamander. That means he has lungs for breathing air and gills for breathing underwater. He's normally a beautiful chocolate brown. But this salamander has albinism, so he has no color in his hair, skin, or eyes. Now, when I did my research, this guy had his own website. And I'm thinking, why does a salamander get his own website? It's not Taylor Swift. He's not on tour. So I had to look it up. Turns out he's an amazing salamander. If you cut off his leg, it will grow back, which is cool, but big deal. So does a starfish. So I had to do more research. Turns out if you crush a vertebrae in his backbone, a little bone, his body will fix it all by itself. What? That's what I said. So I had to know more. Turns out if you cut out a little piece of his brain, his body will repair that too. If you cut off his head, he dies. So don't do it. Don't cut off his head. It's a very bad idea. But he can repair his body. He's an amazing salamander. That's why it is on website. The scientists at the University of Indiana and scientists all over the world, they're studying this salamander. If they can figure out how he fixes his body, do you think we could teach our bodies how to do it? And if we can, wouldn't that be great? That's why he had his own website. I am always curious. Now here are some animals with albinism. You've seen a normal raccoon, right? Here are raccoons with albinism. No color in their hair, no color in their little skin and their nose and their toes. No color in their eyes. Want to see some more? Here you go. Penguin with albinism. Yeah. No tuxedo on that little white penguin, is there? He's adorable. He's not naked, though, because he's wearing his feather clothes. He's not naked. Here is a squirrel with albinism. Now, you use the normal brown squirrels, but this one has albinism. Now, here's the problem. See that little white squirrel? He doesn't know he's white. He thinks he's brown like all his friends. So when a dog chases him, he runs up the tree and he holds very still. And the dog says, gee, thanks, I see you better now. But this little white guy, he's pretty lucky in the snow, right? So he's got a few months of safety. Albino dolphin, also known as a sunburn dolphin. Because if you have no pigment, you have no protection from the sun, and you get sunburn very, very easily. That is a sunburn dolphin. We need to invent sunscreen for dolphins, don't we? Albino dolphin who's sunburned. Now, I wrote these two books about mysteries, mysterious animals that may or may not be real, Tales of the Cryptids, and later In Search of Sasquatch. That's for things like Chupacabra, Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Loveland Frog. All of those mysterious animals that people say they've seen but cannot prove. I thought I was going to prove they're all fake, but I couldn't do it. Some were real, some were fake, most were maybe. And my favorite maybe turned out to be Bigfoot. I was sure he was fake, and now I think he might be real, might. We don't have enough evidence yet to be sure. But let's look at some of the evidence. Here is a picture of Patty. She is a famous Bigfoot. Way back in 1967, that's so long ago, I was 10 years old. Two rodeo cowboys from Washington State went to California, and they got a movie, 1 minute and 6 seconds of Bigfoot walking away. This is a picture from that little movie. Now, the guys that got the movie, they say it's a Bigfoot, and maybe that's true. But other people say that's a guy wearing a costume. And either thing might be true. But let's look at the evidence. Costumes in 1967 were not like costumes today. Has anybody seen the reboot of Planet of the Apes with Caesar? Caesar looks so real because that's special effects, that's stop motion animation, that is special effects, and that looks really real. But that's now. That's not 1967. The best costume made in 1967 were from a television show called Star Trek. And Star Trek was 1967, just like that Bigfoot movie. This is a costume from Star Trek in 1967. Does that costume look real? No. Do you see any muscles in this costume? No. Because there are no muscles. Do you see any eyeballs in that mask? No, because there aren't any. This was the best costume made in 1967. If this is a costume, that's a very good costume because look, I see muscles in her thighs and her calves and her thighs. Look, there's her gluteus maximus. Wrist, elbow, shoulder. If that's a costume, that's a really, really good costume. Or it's an animal. If it's an animal, it's not a monster. If it's an animal, it's related to the great apes. You know, orangutan, bonobo, gorilla, chimpanzee, great apes. But all of these great apes walk on 1, 2, 3, 4 legs, you know, like Donkey Kong, right? They're quadrupeds. Quad means four. They walk on all four. They use their front hands like feet. If Bigfoot is real, it doesn't walk on four legs. It walks on two. And when it walks on two legs, it leaves its footprints behind. In the mud, just like when you walk in the mud barefoot. They leave their footprints behind. The scientists collect the footprints. These are two very famous footprints. They're from my state of Washington. Now, a guy named Dr. Grover Krantz, he found those footprints and he shared them with the world. He said, this is proof that Bigfoot is real because this was the left and right foot of one individual. Do you see how this foot looks normal? It looks like a Bigfoot, just a normal Bigfoot. But does this foot look normal? Do you notice how it's twisted on the side and has broken toes? This Bigfoot had a disability. Now, if you don't believe how big he is, I'm going to show you how big it is. Can you see the little box with me in it? These are copies of those feet. Can you see they're 17 inches long? Those are big feet. If these are fake footprints, they're a really good hoax. And so some people say, well, if we want to prove a Bigfoot is real, we have to shoot one. So let's go out and shoot one. Bad idea. If you shoot a Bigfoot, you're shooting part of a family. You might shoot a dad or a mom or a kid or an uncle or an aunt or a best friend. You might even shoot a baby. Because a Bigfoot hunter came to me and said, look, I found baby Bigfoot's track. And I said, dude, that's adorable. So he made a little copy of it for me so I could share it with you. And it is adorable. Can you see that little foot? It's so cute, but are you critical thinkers? Couldn't this also be your baby brother's footprint? Couldn't this be human? Maybe. Might be human, might be Bigfoot, can't be sure. Can't prove it yet, but let's keep an open mind. Now, here's another reason not to shoot a Bigfoot. What happens if you shoot one and it turns out to be a guy wearing a costume? Uh-oh. Isn't that called murder? I don't think you better shoot one. Take pictures. Because you want to go to college, not prison. College, not prison. Or trade school, that's okay. You don't want to go to jail for shooting a Bigfoot. I wrote a brand new cryptozoology book that came out just this year called Cryptid Creatures, a Field Guide. Because kids wanted more cryptids, so there are 50 cryptids in this book. 3 pictures for each cryptid, an adult, a baby, and a skeletal feature. Here's some of the new cryptids. This guy's called Tsuchinoko. He's from Japan. He looks like a big fat snake with a little skinny tail. So he might be real. But when I did the research for Tsuchinoko, I discovered he was a video game star. He's in an old video game called Metal Gear. Do you see that Tsuchinoko right there in Metal Gear? Yeah, video game star. Anybody ever play, anybody ever watch Yokai? Yokai Watch? Yeah, remember this little guy? He is a Tsuchinoko. And raise your hand if you play Pokemon. I do. Pokemon has their own Tsuchinoko. It's called Dunsparce. Yeah. I confirmed it with Nintendo. Dunsparce is a Tsuchinoko. Now here's what I think Tsuchinoko could be. It might be mistaken identity. It might be this blue-tongued skink. If he's moving really fast and his legs get blurry like they are in part of this picture, would you think it's a big fat snake with a little skinny tail? See how some cryptids might actually be explainable? Some might be mistaken identity. I wrote a book called Death Eaters. No, it's not Harry Potter, but it was inspired by Harry Potter. I was watching Harry Potter and I thought, ooh, Death Eaters would be a cool name for a scavenger book. So I wrote it. I think those recyclers are amazing. Now here's a gross set of pictures. Ew, blood. Wolves are scavengers. They clean up the mess. So are vultures. So are crows, the smartest birds. And so are maggots, which are baby flies. They're so disgusting. But did you know pill bugs were Death Eaters? Roly-polies. I love them. They do not eat live things, so you don't have to hurt them when you hold them. You can still be sweet to them. They're the best little playmates, but they also eat dead stuff. The scientists caught them nibbling on a dead body. They didn't eat much. This is a little teeny bite right here. But turns out they were Death Eaters too. They just can't clean up much of the mess. Did you know squirrels were Death Eaters? That squirrel is about to eat that dead frog. Ew! That's disgusting. So let's erase that picture by showing you a picture of squirrels eating pizza. Yeah, pizza's better. Do you think pizza's better? I think pizza's better. Much better. I wrote a book called Wild Dogs. Wild dogs, dogs from every continent in the whole wide world. And I found some I'd never heard of, like this guy. He's called the bush dog. He's from South America. The scientists who study the bush dog call him the dog made of spare parts because he has a head like a bear. He has a body like a weasel. Look at that tail. He's got a tail like a beaver. And he has webbed feet because he walks in the swamps. And he's super cute, but I found a dog that's even cuter than the bush dog. You ready? It's the African wild dog. Isn't that the most beautiful dog you've ever found? Do you remember that little white squirrel that had no blending in, no camouflage? Because he didn't look like the trees or the grass or anything else? I want you to look at this wild dog, African wild dog. Does he have the best camouflage you've ever seen? He has every single color in his habitat. But there is one thing cuter than an African wild dog, and that is an African wild dog puppy. Oh, there's the puppy. He's been rolling around in the leaves. Isn't he the cutest little puppy you've ever seen? And if you look very closely at this picture, now you will see that the puppies blended right in. Did you notice those babies on the side? They have good camouflage, don't they? Yep, pretty awesome. Now, I wrote a book called Tiger in Trouble. There was a tiger in trouble. It was in Kansas, right next door to you. And it was in a place called Olathe, Kansas. And this guy had 2 tigers and 3 lionesses, and it wasn't against the law. Until one night, when a homeless man wandered into the cat sanctuary, happened to be on a night when the man was late feeding his big cats. So they were very hungry. And this homeless guy said, look, there's a lion in a cage. I think I'll pet it. And he put his hand through the bars, and those hungry lions saw dinner, Kentucky Fried Chicken in that arm. And they bit him. Now, they didn't mean him any harm. They were just hungry. And that was against the law. Now, the guy's fine. He survived it. Got stitches. But since it was against the law, they took the big cats away, which is good because is this a very nice place to keep big cats? That looks like a junkyard to me. There were 2 lions in this cage. 2 tigers. So they took the lions to the Detroit Zoo. They took the tigers to the Carolina Tiger Rescue. Is this a better place for them to live? That is a much better home. But when they got this tiger Nitro to the giant new enclosure, guess what they found out? Something his first owner hadn't noticed for 10 years. Nitro was blind. They had to teach a blind tiger how to see using only his sense of smell. But you'll have to check out the book to find out how they did it. That's a good little book. Now here's one I did for National Geographic called Courageous Canines, and it's about Lily, the pit bull, on the front of the book. Now, a lot of us are afraid of pit bulls. That's because some people make pit bulls fight each other. If your parents fight pit bulls, I still love your parents, but when you grow up, I hope you'll stop it because it's not fair to the dogs. Lily was a pit bull who would not fight. So they threw her on the side of the road and left her to die. They picked her up and took her to a shelter, got her happy and healthy and strong. A police officer named David, he volunteered at the shelter, and he knew pit bulls could be sweet. So he adopted Lily for his mother because his mother was lonely and she needed a friend, and she loved Lily. She took that dog for a walk every single day, but one night she got bad news. And so she decided to take a walk on the railroad tracks. Is that ever a good idea? Never. That woman slipped and fell, hit her head, knocked out cold on the railroad tracks. And the train was coming. Now Lily could have run away. No one was holding her leash, but she didn't. That dog pulled her mother off the train tracks. Lily saved her mother's life, and then she curled up next to her mother and waited for help to come. Now, when the train roared by, the engineer hit the brakes and he tried to stop, but he couldn't do it. It takes a mile for a train to stop. So when that train rushed by the woman and the dog, the engineer felt a bump and he thought, oh, I hope we didn't run over that woman. And when the train finally stopped a mile down the tracks, the engineer, he ran all the way back to where the woman and the dog were, and the woman was fine. It was poor Lily who got hit. The gush of wind from the train pulled her under. So they rushed her to the hospital, and they were able to save her life, but they were not able to save her leg. Now, before we get to Lily and how she looks now, do you know what they called pit bulls before they called them fighting dogs? They called them nanny dogs. At the turn of the century, olden days, people adopted pit bulls to babysit their little children because they were so gentle and so loyal. Don't you think we should let pit bulls go back to their nature instead of fighting each other? I do. So they rushed Lily to the hospital. They were able to save her life. They were not able to save her leg. Here is the woman who got saved. Here is David, the police officer. So they had to remove her leg. But Lily is now a happy, healthy, fully functional, three-legged pit bull. Is she hard to love? Oh, no. She's easy to love. Even with 3 legs, look how sweet she looks. Do you know she never tried to bite anyone? The whole time she was hurt, she just licked people. She was so sweet. And she's got those sweet eyes. So now she has 3 legs. David said, hey, Mom, I think Lily's going to live at my house now and you can visit. Mom said, yeah, that's probably a good idea. Because she didn't make a very good choice. But you know what Lily and David do now on his days off? When he's not being a policeman, they visit hospitals and schools. Would you like to meet Lily someday? Yeah. Turns out this pit bull is a very sweet dog. And a lot of pit bulls can be sweet. I'm going to write about this weird little animal. He's called a tardigrade. Have you ever heard of them? They are the toughest animals on the planet Earth. I think they're adorable. They're a little bit weird. They have 6 legs and they have little claws on each foot. They are amazing animals. You can find them in every wet, mossy place, which you have lots of mossy places in Missouri. Anywhere like down by a creek where it's wet and mossy. Yeah, tardigrades live there. And they are the size of a poppy seed. You need a microscope to see this tough little creature. See those little black seeds on that bagel? That's a poppy seed. But they are so tough. If you take away their water, they can live up to 100 years without water. That's amazing. They can survive 400-degree temperatures. That's like cookie baking oven. And they can survive minus 300 degrees. That's colder than the coldest winter you've ever known. So they said, well, if they're so tough, let's send them to space, where there's extreme heat, extreme cold, no water, no air, ultraviolet rays. They sent those tardigrades to space, and they thought it would kill them all. But when they got the capsule back down to Earth and they examined the tardigrades, guess what? We're fine. Hi. We're okay. Don't worry. We're fine. Some of us even had space babies. Babies in space. Aren't they adorable? They come in 7 different colors. Aren't they cute? I love them. I'm going to write about a chimpanzee sanctuary. Her name is Foxy. She loves dolls. Her best friend is a girl named Jamie. She loves cowboy boots. I don't know why. She just does. I'm going to write about an elephant hospital in Thailand that saved this little baby. Yeah, they saved that baby. I'm going to write about stories in stone and prehistoric amber and Washington's only dinosaur. Did you know I'm old? Did you notice? I've got gray hair. I'm 62 years old. I have a few good years left, but someday I will be too old to write weird books, and someone will have to take my place. And that could be you. Did you think you had to be a rocket scientist to write books? You don't. You just have to be curious. I was that curious kid that made my teachers insane asking too many questions. Now I get paid for asking questions. And I get paid for being weird. So if you like to ask questions and you like to be weird, maybe you're meant to be a writer. Think about it. And thank you for coming to the library program today. You were awesome. Let me see if I can figure out how to not share. Is this how I not share? Yay, I did it right.
Good job.
So do we have any questions?
I know in the chat during the program we had Jonathan, Chris, and Natalie mention that they had caught a lizard before.
Did you catch a lizard? Was it cool?
It was red, and they kept it and named it Fire.
It was red?
Yeah, but
Oh, he got
Unmute
unmuted.
yourself. It's okay.
Let's try. Might just be a, yeah, there you go.
sadly it died after 6 months.
Oh,
Well,
okay, but it was red?
6 months. That's
Yeah,
okay.
it was red.
Was he red and looked slippery, or did he look dry?
I don't remember because it was like 6 years ago.
That's
So
a
it was
lot.
a while.
Next time, instead of taking it home, enjoy it for a while, take a good picture, and then let it go. Because that's the best thing to do. I never tried to keep those. I had to keep Gigantor because he couldn't go to a zoo. He was not a purebred Cuban Cayman iguana. So they couldn't take him. So I had to keep Gigantor. And I had lots of instruction from famous lizard guys, but when I was little and I would catch a lizard, I would talk to him for a while and then I would always let him go. So the next time, take a good cell phone picture and then let him go. But if you get one at a pet store, they can help you, teach you how to keep it alive.
Yeah. But like I fed it because I watched it for a little. Like I think it was like, so 6 months before I caught it.
Yeah.
That's when I first saw it. And I kept trying to catch it, but I never could. And every morning, I came out and I fed it because it always came to my porch.
Wow, that's so cool. Well, 6 months is a good long time. That's a long time to keep a captive. So I'm glad you had that experience. It's pretty cool.
So now I know. Now I know next time to ask somebody.
Good idea.
What to feed it and what to do with it.
Exactly. And then you have to make sure he has heat because he has to have a heat source. So next time, if you really want him, you take him to a place like a pet store and say, how do I keep this guy healthy? And they'll tell you how.
Yeah.
But that's
now I think that I did. He didn't have a lot of heat.
Yeah, and they can't make their own heat, so you got to give them the heat.
Now I think of it because if it was summer, I could have put the cage outside so he could get some heat.
Make sure if you do that, though, you got to make sure he can get out of the heat. So you got to put a little box in his cage with him, so if it gets too hot, he can get cooler. Lizards are a little challenging, but they're pretty great.
Yep.
I'd like to see a red lizard. I didn't know Missouri had red lizards. That's pretty cool.
I didn't either. I thought it was
Any other
interesting,
questions?
Kelly, that I don't see any more in the chat, but I thought it was interesting that you kept talking about proving and showing evidence when we're looking at things like animals and how big they are. And did you know, and did everyone else here know, I'm sure you did, that Missouri is the show me state?
Yes.
Okay. That immediately made me think of it. I thought, we're the show me state, so we're automatically going to question anything like
You
that.
guys are critical.
What's the show me? What's the show me state?
Missouri is, it's a state nickname.
The state motto. I mean, this
Motto.
is what we stand for. Show me, prove it to me. You know what our Texas state motto was? Be friendly.
All right, it looks like our Lincoln and Luke, are you about to head out? Do you have any questions? Lincoln and Luke, do you want to unmute yourself and ask anything?
No.
Nope, you're
Did you
okay?
have fun?
Uh-huh.
It was awesome. Is
You
that
don't
what you
wanna
said?
Yes. Do you want to ask her about the stories in stone?
Mm.
No? Oh, okay. I was really intrigued by your book you're writing, the stories in stone.
There are going to be 6 stories of man-made stones and 6 stories of nature-made stones.
Okay. Are you going to put Petra in there? Just
Yes,
awesome.
I know. I was just, I'm absolutely riveted, just intrigued by the stones. My dad and I were rock hounds and when I was a kid, so we would look for bits of rock everywhere we went, no matter where we went. And so the concept that people have made such astonishing things out of carving into stone, and then the things that are natural stone, just blew my mind. So I cannot wait.
Oh, it's amazing. We're excited. We look forward to your book. And we're watching you from overseas. So thank you. It's nighttime here.
Where are
But
you? Where
Where
are
are
you?
you?
say it again.
Saudi.
To Saudi Arabia.
Saudi
Saudi
Arabia.
Arabia.
Ah, I hear it's a beautiful country.
Parts of it are. Yeah, there are some really. And the north is quite mountainous. But I'm from Noster, and we're expats living overseas. So we just thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for coming. I'm glad you took the time, especially since it's nighttime for you.
Yeah, I was like, they're gonna have to go to bed.
I know. I was talking too long. Yeah. Well,
Thank you so much.
think about coming for the other weeks every Monday for a while. We're going to be doing this.
Oh, great. Yes, we'd love to join. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you. All right.
That was great. So cool.
I know, that's so cool. I had no idea. I'm so glad. That's another great thing about doing it this way is people can tune in wherever they are.
Definitely. And tell your friends, because we'd like to have more of your friends come and join. So anybody, right? Am I right, Sarah? Anybody can come.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I know
anywhere.
anywhere. I know Jody's here. She's from a library just south of us in Henry County. And she mentioned that she's, letting her patrons know about this as well. And so it's open to anyone. You don't have to live here in Warrensburg or any of the surrounding areas. I'd be happy to send anyone the information. And just to reiterate that, if you email register@trailslibrary.org, I will send you a meeting link and the password and all the information you'll need to log in every single week that we've got these programs. So please feel free to do that, or you can come on our website, trailslibrary.org, and we've got a little form you can fill out, and you can just click which programs you'd want information about. So yeah, definitely open to everyone.
Well, I appreciate you coming, everybody, and I hope you'll tell your friends to come next time. And this has been great fun. I hope you had a little bit of fun, you guys that were listening. I hope you had fun. How did it go to the callers? I think our callers are gone.
I think our callers are gone.
But they're gonna watch the video.
But yeah, we have, and I put that in the chat. We've got the